Hello, good morning. My name is Citizen Jones Hussein. Welcome. Now, militancy is as intractable as the forces that create it. In Nigeria, militancy has assumed a totally new life of its own, right from the Obasanjo days through the Yaradua months onto the Goodluck Jonathan years. Militancy came out in full force. Now, the Muhammadu Buhari regime is here. Militancy is still a great force to contend with. Now, the new Avengers have said they must resume, bombing oil pipelines in the Niger Delta region. Raises more questions than answers. Will this be the answer to the intractable problem? I have this morning two gentlemen to broach the subject matter. Let's meet first Dr. Luke Onyekakea. He's a columnist, a member of the editorial board of The Guardian. He's also an interested party. Welcome, Dr. Onyekakea.
Thank you. Good morning.
Now, Lester Wilcox is a Niger Delta son. By definition, he's an accountant, a chartered accountant, but he discusses Niger Delta. Great to have you.
Citizen, it's nice to have you, and good morning to the esteemed viewers this morning.
Dr. Onyekakea, let's kick it off. The Avengers in the news again, even if for the wrong reasons. Yeah?
Yeah, thank you very much. Avengers have just come up and said they had a ceasefire and that is over. That's the information they have passed over to the government, to Nigerians. Then the question is, why? Now, when a problem continues to linger over and over for a long time, what it means is that the parties concerned are not handling it well.
Both parties are wrong.
Both parties are wrong. So somebody has to break the jinx of ensuring that there is permanent peace. So if Avengers at a point they were bombing pipelines and causing a lot of disruption in the oil production, at a point they shut down the oil production to less than 2 million barrels per day. Then along the line they declared a ceasefire, and then something was done. Then suddenly, they say the ceasefire is over. It means that something is still fundamentally wrong. So, for me, I think the government or the authorities have been looking at the effect without looking at the cause, going to the cause, the root of the problem. Once the root of the problem is addressed, I think this problem will be permanent.
So when you cure the cause,
yes, the cause is left.
Yeah.
And then the people are looking at the effects, trying to placate, trying to cushion the effect. Nobody is looking at the cause of why is there agitation in the Niger Delta.
Okay. Now, Alester, two dates are very key here. The first date I have here is November 1st, 2016. That's when the Pan-Niger Delta groups sent was received at Aso Rock by Mr. President, and the 16-point was presented. Now, the second date is January 16, 2017. That's when acting president then, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, visited the region and flew the olive branch. What could have happened?
Citizen, the segments and the pits and pits of the Niger Delta question may not be addressed in one program, but we have always been on this, even in other fora. It's not just the dates that are involved here, but the personalities behind the dates and behind the scene, working in either in cocoons or in a broader dimension. Like you rightly pointed out in your opening, the militancy, let's even say back in the Abacha days, was when these things reared their heads, and Obasanjo inherited it, passed it on to Yaradua, who placated it. Jonathan managed to keep it under wrap for cash for peace program. and then the Buhari aiders. I don't want to totally agree that people are not looking at the cause, because everybody has been looking at the cause, but the cause is multidimensional because it's either it's real or imaginary.
Can you place the finger on it?
Yeah, it's either it is real
or imaginary,
because everybody has always said, no development. That has been the cause. Neglect. That has been the basis. But by the time you look at the personalities and some of the actions and inactions that has transcended over this period, you begin to ask, is truly the cause developmental neglect, as we said? Because during the Jonathan years, there was a lot of millionaires being made out of the place. There was a lot of money pumped in the Children Amnesty program. There were a lot of new millionaires being made, new investments being made, and personalities becomes richer than even the region by itself. So to that extent, I was looking at the cause. And then when Buhari came into office, just barely 3 months of his assumption of office, we had this renewal of hostility. Could that also be said to be developmental or neglect? So as I said, it is a facet of very many things. Many people have many ideas, but looking at those dates, very instrumental. And that is also why I have been a very strong advocate of a good Nigeria, a united Nigeria, a one Nigeria that is devoid of any of this distraction. But if there was a November 16 visitation, a January 17 visiting, 2017 till now gives us about 10 months.
10 months, yeah.
10 months in between. So that visit, what has been the result of it? Can the government truly say, yes, the visit, we have offered this, and we have implemented this?
Yeah, the visit was worth all the trouble.
All the troubles. Yes, it was all the trouble as at the time because it created that buffer of calling a ceasefire. But thereafter the ceasefire, has there been any follow-up as to the fact that, yes, out of 20-point demands, we have accepted 10, and out of the 10, we have visibly seen 2 implemented, for which anybody can lay claim to say, yes, there is tendency of implementing the remaining 8.
Look, we must tear the bag and look at some of the 16-point demands. Yeah. In no particular order. The Niger Delta, the Niger Maritime University at Okerenkoko, when the acting president then got there, promised there was going to be something done in that regard. Till now, nothing has happened.
Thank you very much. I have been a university lecturer myself. Now, I find it a bit difficult to really understand what a Niger Delta University is going to achieve.
Maritime University.
Okay, Maritime University. Maritime University.
There is a Niger Delta University I think
Bayelsa State. Now, Maritime University.
Yeah.
Now, why I'm saying this is, I don't know why this should be a specific demand.
Exactly. It's one of the 16-point demands.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why that came up.
I'll give you a little why. The why is, during the Jonathan presidency, a site was prepared.
Yes.
I have been there myself. I have been there.
Yes.
At Kurutie. The campus is ready. And then you see, you find the seal of the federal government there, and a registrar and a vice chancellor were appointed.
Okay, which means they have even gone, taking steps.
They've gone that far.
So if they have gone, taking such steps to that extent, then what is holding the establishment of the university? The Jonathan administration established a federal university in...
It was gazetted.
In Bayelsa State. I think it's in Bayelsa State.
Well, don't let us mix it up.
Okay.
The Niger Delta University on Wilberforce Island, Bayelsa State is there,
Yeah, that one is a state university.
Okay. There's also a federal university in Otuoke.
But this is a maritime
university in Okerekoko.
Maritime, the word maritime is operative here.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what the maritime university is talking about, dealing with water, wherever. Water.
Yeah.
Now, if we have a federal university at Otuoke, we have another state university at Bayelsa.
At
Wilberforce in Bayelsa State.
There's also a petroleum university in Warri.
We have petroleum university in Warri. We have University of Port Harcourt,
Benin.
Federal University. We have university in Benin. I don't know why whatever you want to study in maritime cannot be established or cannot be pursued via these universities that are already operational. That is one aspect of it. And then the other thing is, if a specific maritime university is actually needed, then for me, maybe Jonathan should have gone ahead to let this university, since that's what the people want.
I said he appointed a VC.
That's what I'm saying.
And a registrar.
Instead of setting up,
blowing the whistle for the maritime university to take off.
Yes.
Forms one of the 16-point
That's what I'm saying. Since the people want that, it will make them give it to them. He should have gone ahead to set up a maritime university instead of Federal University at Otuoke. He should have called it Maritime University. That would have solved that particular problem.
All right then. Alesta Export Processing Zone comprising the Gas City project at Ogidigbe.
Well, citizen, these points are necessary developmental points. No doubt about them. No doubt about these things. We have been talking about export processing, it's not today. The one in Calabar was kept moribund. Moribund, the one in Calabar. It's just, that the Lagos State government is beginning to do the one in Lekki and all whatnot. These are necessary developmental projects which do not become irrelevant today under this Buhari administration. You see, that's why sometimes when I look at those 16 points, that's why I said it's the Niger Delta problem, developmental or personality or personal or imagined. Okay? Because you are talking about this. These are the things that state governance can do. Comrade Eva has always shouted about state governance within the zone establishing fishing, trawling settlements. He shouted, where are the trawlers? You are in a maritime environment, and yet as of today, you are citizens that are still using canoe and net to go catching fish. When you can establish by yourself or through foreign investors or through foreign partnership, because they all travel abroad. Wike is in London delivering seminars somewhere. They all travel abroad. Ibori had all the time to launder money abroad. And if these things are established, and you are talking of Delta State, which a governor ripped up to his belly, and today we are holding Buhari responsible for some of these ills. I'm not saying the federal government should not have established a processing zone and all those things, but what has the state governors done with the funds that they've looted and they've destroyed and they've made the region almost to their belly? These are the things that they can easily have handled. And establish export principle, establish fishing settlement, establish trawler settlement, where real commercial activities. Only Donald Duke was able to think ahead, and we're talking about the Tinapa project, which as soon as he left, no other person could continue it. Today, I'm sure that people would have been like Dubai. All of us go to Dubai today for nonsense shopping.
But you can look back and ask, was the Tinapa thing futuristic? Was it?
Well, if a government is a continuum, the idea is futuristic. Yes. The idea is to make that particular environment a hub, a trading hub, where goods and services come in and go out, just as the Dubai started. And that was just the vision. Today, we all struggle to go to Dubai. There are 3 airlines from that area, and they all get filled up every day, in and out. That is what is happening. That is developmental. Since after Donald Duke left that environment, what has happened? Even his brother Akpabio that took over, that was in Akwa Ibom, could not think in that direction and create a synergy for that region, at least that aspect of the region, to have a sustainable economic zone that will have dragged development.
Akpabio envisioned the deep sea port at Ibaka, in Akwa Ibom.
Okay.
But that is still.
So what has happened to it?
Still in the pipe. But Dr. Onyekake, we can talk about the Ogoni cleanup, can't we?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Well, that one, Ogoni cleanup, is one of the major issues that attracted international attention. Yeah. UNEP is particularly involved. UNEP is the United Nations Environment Program. It's particularly involved. Now, all of us saw UNEP came up with a report, and the federal government under Buhari went and launched it. They are going to do it. But unfortunately, after the launching, we have not heard of any other thing. So I don't know why, there are a lot of proposals in the pipeline, but nothing seems to be concretely being done.
But there was a flag off of the cleanup.
That's what I'm saying. That's a flag off. A flag off is not the project.
Now, so you're saying it goes beyond rhetorics.
Yes, this mere rhetorics. I think maybe I should say this now. Whatever we're saying, the federal government, why I started by saying that the problem there, the root of it has not been addressed. The federal government should have a package of how to develop that place. I was a student here in Unilag when Abuja was forest. We went there on a study to go and look at the Abuja master plan. We went to Suleja. You know, I'm a geographer. We went to that place. They showed us. Then they took us to where Abuja is now. It was bush. They showed us.
Actually, I'm told it started from Gwagwalada.
Yes.
Yeah.
So something like that. That place was a forest. Today is a city.
Masterpiece.
Is a masterpiece. So why I appreciate that the state governments have to be involved. The state governments have to be involved. The problem in the Niger Delta will be better tackled holistically by the federal government. I think there's a lot of politics going on, and that is why something like a UNEP, Ogoni cleanup is a proposal. It is put there on ground. Nothing is happening, and we don't know when anything will happen.
All right. Alesta, we can also look at the issue of oil majors relocating their headquarters administratively and operationally to the Niger Delta region. That's also on the cards.
I fail to see how that will turn Okorigbene to what they're asking for, or how that will turn Okorikoko.
No, you are not saying, sorry, you are not seeing a picture I'm seeing a picture. Mobil relocates to Akwa Ibom, Shell perhaps to Rivers, Chevron to Bayelsa,
to Bayelsa or Delta, Ajib to citizen.
They talk about snowball effect.
My question is, it will increase IGR for the states, like additional workers will be there. It will create more development and all whatnot in terms of movement of people. But how will that translate? Shell has been operating in Port Harcourt as there has been the operational base in Port Harcourt for God knows how long. How has that changed anything? Mobil has been in Eket, the operational base in Eket for God knows how long. Chevron has been in Delta for all this while. So what will the, I'm not saying it's not a good proposal, but what will say, okay, my headquarters is in let's say it's in Asaba. You build a new structure and put your headquarters in Asaba, and nothing happens there. What will that do? LNG used to have its headquarters in Lagos here. Yeah, okay. It has been moved to Port Harcourt. How has that anything changed? Has that changed the normative or the narrative of Port Harcourt to say because LNG is now having its headquarters in Port Harcourt, it has its operational base in Bonny, and apart from the negative, yes, there are some positive developments here and there, contract works, economic activities. But has that turned the place to Scotland or anything? For me, those are not the issue. The issue is application of whatever resource that's available to you. How is it applied? We are talking about Ogoni cleanup. Yes, I am very, very, very angry that the federal government is not telling Nigerians or the people of Ogoni land in those communities that any work is going to happen, and not telling people if anything is happening or not. We are just working at the realm of speculations. It has been launched, and they say it's going to take about 30 years. It's like a 30-year program. Yeah. It's not a dash. It's not a 100-meter assignment. It's an assignment that will take a lot of time. The important thing being the fact that it has been kicked off. And this kick-off will now put down the what do you call that? The stakeholders should now be the one that will be putting pressure. But giving true story, not these speculations, them say nothing is happening, nothing is happening. True stories as to, okay, we saw them here, this happened, this is what we want to be done. The NDDC that we're talking about is there with increased allocation year in, year out. So it is not the matter that only majors should bring the headquarters in Niger Delta. Application of whatever resources that is earmarked for that region, if it is honestly and genuinely applied, we know the rot. We know the rot in NDDC over the years. NDDC started since 2002. about 15 years down the line. We know the rot. We know how much, we know this corruption and the rot that is NNDC and the amount of money that has been channeled to NNDC. If those resources has been usually spent, citizen, I tell you, some of the issue of developmental or neglect will have long taken a back seat, and then we begin to look for better things to talk about.
Dr. Onyeka, we must talk about this. They are also demanding a review of the ownership of oil blocks.
Yeah.
It's also on the cards.
Sure. What is oil block? Oil block is land. Land.
Not just empty land, though.
That is land. Basically, is land.
Yeah.
Then inside that land, there is oil. Land belongs to the people all over the world. The only real asset anywhere in the world is land. If you are removed from your land, you have nowhere. So land, I am from Imo State somewhere. Then suddenly, I have some pieces of land over there. Suddenly, somebody says, I have found oil there. And now you take that land.
Who owns the oil?
Now, this is where our problem starts. In, say, America, for instance, if you buy a piece of land, whatever is there, the water, the land, the oil, or whatever belongs to you. So here, the federal government says the oil belongs to the federal government.
But Dr. Onyeka, you are not factoring the land use decree into it, the land use act.
I said that is where our problem starts.
Yeah.
Once you alienate the people from the land, then there will be problem. There will be problem. So if the people are demanding that the oil block, I don't think they have asked anything that is out of this world. What they are saying is that this land originally belongs to us. Now you have taken it, you have given it to some people. What they are saying is we want back our land. It's not, it's a natural inclination, it's a natural thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Alistair, in the same vein, they are asking for fiscal federalism, which is now like a swan song.
Yeah, which is now, but I'll call it, it's getting too still now. Fiscal federalism has always been what we discuss. And for me, I love this country, and every part of this country should have the right to resources that accrue from the country as a whole. It's a good thing to ask, but at the same time, we should also know that we're in a federation. It's not a loose federation like we have in other places. It's a perfect federation, and therefore the federation account system that we're operating should be strengthened. I would think that as of today, the derivation policy is good because areas where resources are tapped from get a first-hand share of that resources, 13%. So if you're asking for an increase or a rejigging of the allocation formula, I think that will make far better understanding and better acceptance by everybody. But saying, and which I have always stand against, saying localities or areas should hold on to their resources in this area of paying percentage to the center, I don't think it's a workable situation as of today.
It's not feasible.
And I always say it, and I will keep saying it. It is not the amount of money you have, but what you do
with the money.
With what you have.
Look, the Bakassi issue is on the cards as well. Mm-hmm. Plausible?
What they're asking for?
That the Bakassi question must be
resolved.
Otherwise, the people of Bakassi have been displaced.
Yes.
They have become internally displaced persons. Yes. And in peacetime, it's a little trifling.
Yes. You see, that's the issue of Bakassi has the same relationship with land. These people have a place. They are living from Adam. Yeah. Then suddenly, for reasons or for circumstances that are beyond their control, they are told to leave.
I'm sorry, I'm told there's a call from Cotonou in Benin Republic.
Okay.
My friend, are you there? Welcome.
Yeah, good
Daniel.
morning, my brother.
Daniel, welcome.
Yeah, my name is Daniel. I'm calling from Benin Republic.
Shoot, let's go.
The problem is that I love your discussion, but I'm not comfortable with the man Alessa used to analyze things. I'm not really comfortable. when you're analyzing something, you have to take it all around. If you are saying that even the people the people should take to hold those very governors from the Niger Delta or this and that, you are not telling what people should think about. We know that those people have failed us, but we have a government, federal government. If there's something that has went wrong for the past, is it not the federal government that people will look up to say, okay, these people have not done this thing right, and you that are the head of the family, that this is what you should do. Even if you are telling others that they should ask those governors, you yourself, why don't you ask some of them, how have they been using those very money? When we are analyzing something that people are looking, we shouldn't be maybe doing it as if it is personal. The way you always analyze things, I've been watching you most of the time when they call you on television, the way you analyze something as if that very place also you are not from there. It is not right. So we all, even I myself, but the way things, that is what makes us unhappy. It is not that we love to be out of the country for years, but things are not happening well. Look at even our border. You just want to cross from now to come down to Lagos here now. Look at how police be harassing you. I even advise, I want to advise some of you Nigeria, send in some of the Nigerian police to come to the Republic here and learn how police are working.
All right, thank you. Thank you. We got you first time. Well, Lester, it's only natural. I mean, a reaction like
yes,
that.
Yes,
again.
No, he's entitled. My friend and my brother is entitled to his opinion. And Jones, you always say people should have a 360-degree mind when assessing issues. I'm from Niger Delta. I'm a Nigerian. I'm from that area, and I wouldn't want unduly that anybody be cheated. At the same time, I also not want to be seen as a sectional person that only sees evil or this. I want to have a balanced picture, and I want to be balanced in respect of my views.
All right, another call is from Ikeja, Nigeria. George is here. How are you?
Good morning, Citizen John.
I greet you, sir.
And good morning to Alexa and the other gentleman.
And Luke.
Thank you.
Alexa, you don't need to worry about the kind of comments and hearing the previous caller making against you. I've also been following your pattern of contributions. I do not seem to agree with what the other gentleman said.
Thank you.
If you are from a place, it does not preclude you from saying the truth about what affects that place. That is only what makes you a true son of the soil.
Thank you.
What you have been saying is just the simple truth. But it is not very easy for some people to accept the truth. Coming to the subject of the day, Citizen Jones, I remember when the Vice President visited the Niger Delta, one of the things that was said to have been agreed upon was operation of modular refineries. I do not know how that has been effected so far. And the offenders have not sort of come out to say, this is exactly what is instigating our decision to, call off the ceasefire. They earned my respect when they maturely called off the ceasefire and ensured that there was no hostilities throughout that period. I am appealing to the government. If there is a promise they made that has not been effected, they should please honor the pledge that was made. Thank you.
Many thanks. Just before the break, modular refineries brings to mind the issue of, most times you get to hear illegal refineries.
Yes.
If they are illegal and producing fuel and all, why not modernize it? Quickly, in 30 seconds.
I personally believe, like I keep saying, a people belong to a land in anywhere. If a people find themselves from Adam on the sea, they become fishermen. If people find themselves in the forest, they become timber merchants and things like that. If people find themselves in an area there is oil, they have to know, traditional technology. I studied in Unijos. The people there, from history, I got to know that they started knowing how to, process tin.
To mine, yeah.
300 years ago.
Yeah.
When nobody knew everything up. So it's their traditional resource. So modular refinery, for me, the people should be allowed, since they are calling it illegal, the federal government should fulfill its promise by helping the people modernize it.
All right, then. We must go on this break. Please stay on the line. Mold your opinions. When we come back, we'll do some more. Please stay around. The Niger Delta problem is becoming intractable. It is now everybody's problem. If there's peace in the Niger Delta, there'll be peace in the country at large. The Avengers are saying we will resume vandalizing the pipelines. But we are saying, gentlemen, if they so do, you're further despoiling the land and creating some more problems than we already have.
That is obviously the issue, citizen, and that is where...
But, sorry, but this is not to say government should not keep its part of the bargain.
We're speaking backstage here, and I thank the guy from Ikeja that brings about these modern refineries. There are the low-hanging fruits in those agreements, and there are the high-hanging ones. And so things like these modern refineries, it wouldn't have taken any rocket science for you to have come on stream, or even begin to integrate the so-called illegal refineries. Now, they are called illegal not because things like petrol refinery, refining or crude oil has some negative effect on the environment. And so it is a controlled business, it's a controlled process. But in this case, what they just do is take the crude, which most times is stolen through busting of pipe, steal the crude, and then use local technology and then pollute the entire environment. Kill the aquatic resources because the waste product is thrown into the sea. You burn down a whole bush, go to some place, the whole bush is burnt down, and so create environmental problem. That is the aspect that it is illegal. So what government could have done with this idea of the modular refinery was first of all to gather these other ones that are doing it and begin to see how they can be processed and make them better. And then now create your own better model. So these are low-hanging fruit that I expect government should have waste all this time, 10 months grace period for them to have come up with. And then to some of these other ones that we are all laid back to, it seems, as it has been in the country, after an agreement is signed, everybody goes to sleep. And it takes a call like this for the Avengers, rightly or wrongly, maybe to wake them up from sleep. My position to the Avengers, a lot of people say they don't know them. The people say they are faceless, either faceless or faithful or whatever thing they are. Let this call be a wake-up call to the government.
There is a call
rather
now.
than an action.
There's a call now from Niger State, and Joshua is on the line. Joshua, I greet you. Welcome.
Good morning,
yes,
Mr. Citizen, and good morning to the guests in the house.
Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you.
Sir, I want to make this submission that the citizens or the youth from Niger Delta are not greedy. They just want a sense of belonging in the nation called Nigeria. If our leaders have to be sincere with themselves and with the youth and the citizens of this very nation, you will discover that these people have been marginalized over the years. And what they just need is to help them improve their sense of creativity. Let them come into the space called Nigeria and explore. You will discover that if Nigeria and our leaders are very sincere, these people, that is the youth in Niger Delta, they will be peace. And we even have this opportunity to explore more. Are you getting it, sir?
Yeah.
But if our leaders don't play their own role by being sincere to their good and laudable promise they have made, they will discover the hostility will continue.
Many thanks. Many thanks. Gentlemen, quickly, before we address what he has said.
Yes.
It is, students of history will tell you readily, there are people who are reaping from organized chaos.
Yes.
And so take it home to what he has just said.
Yes.
What are the leaders in these Niger Delta areas telling the youths? Are they being honest to them?
My colleague here he said a lot of millionaires have been made in that place. You see, that is where the problem is. this is a place that is dejected. But in the same place, you find people who are millionaires, who are billionaires. Why? I had opportunity to work in Bonny when I was working, a defunct federal clearing agency.
NACO.
NACFA.
Okay,
NACFA, yes. I used to operate in Bonny, go to Port Harcourt, enter...
Pontoon.
Yes, and then go to... And I was transporting...
That's my place.
Okay, I was transporting a lot of things they are using to construct this LNG something there.
Yeah. Okay.
Put them on barges, and then I will fly and then go and wait for it too. So I discovered that a lot of people are being given money to allow one thing or the other to. Before you go there and do anything, there is organized kind of, organized,
I'm sorry,
I don't want to use the word.
Alhaji Hassan Lekki Lagos is waiting. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I greet you. Welcome.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Wilkos.
Good morning, sir.
And the other gentleman.
No, the other gentleman is Luke Onyekakeya.
Thank you.
Okay, Luke Onyekachi.
Onyekakeya.
Please.
Thank you.
This issue of Niger Delta is coming up every now and then.
Yes.
Niger Delta is Nigeria. Niger Delta is the hen that laid the golden egg in Nigeria as of today.
Yes.
This one is an uncompromising truth.
Yeah.
But it is high time we begin to ask ourselves. We will never be a party to subjugation of any region. We will never be a party to oppressing any region in Nigeria. Anybody that is fair to Nigeria must be fair to Niger Delta. But there are certain questions we need to ask ourselves. What have the Niger Delta governors been doing with the derivation fund?
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, what is happening to the allocation made to NDDC? Number three, what is happening with the ministry established specifically to address the Niger Delta issue? That is the Ministry of Niger Delta. People consider them a lot. I can see the enemy within in Niger Delta. The elite are not helping them. The commoners are busy following the footsteps of the elite, which is very, very misleading and unfounded.
Yeah.
The issue is this. Please, let us begin to look inward about our problems.
Okay then. Many thanks. Taking from what he has just said,
yes,
we cannot forget the story of the Ogoni 4 that gave rise to the Ogoni 9.
Yes.
Put it in perspective.
Yes. You see, there's what is called organized disorder. That's what is happening in the Niger Delta now. Organized disorder. Because when a set of people say they are going to do this, cause chaos and the rest of them, it's organized. Now, a lot of people are reaping from this disorder in the Niger Delta.
Is that possible?
Yes. There are leaders of different groups in the Niger Delta, who, but the person who just called now, he talked of Niger Delta NDDC. There's Niger Delta Ministry, and so on. All these are federal government institutions that have budgets given.
And they are interventionists. In nature.
They were supposed to be interventionists, particularly the NDDC.
Yeah.
It's supposed, for me, I was looking at it as, I was equating it to the Abuja, Ministry of Abuja Land Development, which we visited in Suleja when Abuja was still in the planning stage. But NDDC is not playing that role well. What they are doing is there's a budget announced now. By this time next year, the budget disappears. There is nothing.
So there's a conspiracy of sorts.
There's a kind of conspiracy. And that is why I am thinking that it is the same way the federal government developed Abuja from the federal perspective. That's the way anything that needs to be done. If you leave NDDC as it is now to the people in the Niger Delta, it can be left to them. But if government really wants to bring change there, then it should be a federal action.
No,
just a minute. Okay. Akin Ikeja, I hear you are here. Good morning, welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Please, I'd like to contribute to the program.
You are doing so. Go on. Go on.
Okay. Please, there's something I noticed. You see, when there is crime or criminality going on in any part or any region of this country, I think we all should collectively condemn it. I'm from somewhere in Ipokia. That's where I came from. That I based in Kenya. You see, when the issue of this smuggling started, I was born and brought up in Nigeria. So my kinsmen, they called me, asked me to come back home. That a lot of guys are making a lot of millions out of that dirty, shady deal. I went back there. Yeah, I make a lot of millions too. I make some dough. But you see, when the government starts stopping us from this rubbish, that is the customs and joint tax, I had to retreat, come back to Ikeja, my base. Because purely what we're doing, we knew it's illegal. Smuggling in all sorts of things that I can't even see on the head, all sorts of things. Forget it. All sorts of nonsense we smuggled in.
Okay.
For all these bad people.
Okay.
We make a lot of money from it, a lot of profit.
Thank you very kindly. Thank you. Everything that has to do with the Niger Delta must be inclusive. Inclusive.
Yes.
Yes, you see, I was just trying to talk about what my colleague just talked about. The interventionist agencies in these areas, and I keep mentioning and I'll keep saying it, not the amount of money or the amount of noise, but the utilization of what you have. Right from the days of Umpadek, these agencies are run by sons and daughters of Niger Delta. Today, the copier, nobody knows where he is. The last direct MD of Umpadek disappeared, but with all the money. NDDC has been run by sons and daughters of Niger Delta. Allocations has been made, and each time these issues are raised up, they will say, don't go there. What of Abuja? You keep talking about Abuja. How much is allocated to Abuja? How much is allocated to NDDC? Abuja is just one city. Niger Delta starts from Ondo State and dovetails up to Akwa Ibom and Cross River. It's the totality of it. It's more than
region.
3 countries put together. It's more than 3 countries in some places. So if going to Abuja is like I mean doing an apple and a pawpaw in terms of comparison. So what we're talking about in this way is that, sorry,
you have attracted Okora for Arochukwu. How are you, sir? Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Jones, and good morning, our guests in the studio.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jones, I want to find out from you. How do you think traditional rulers, don't you think government should bring them in when they are awarded contracts to any areas in the Niger Delta? Because the traditional rulers are the custodians of any ethics, any law in the environment, and they know the problems of the people in the environment. Like what our last scholars have been said about the governors and the rest, the Colombo and the rest. Now, what do we do? Because if traditional rulers are part and parcel of any contract in that place, when there is no decision of that contract, the people now will now hold them responsible. Not the question of going to look for local government chairman or looking for the governor. Because it's a don't Avengers. These are human beings. They are not ghosts. These are people we feed them because they are human beings who make statements and say to all these people. Now, what do? We have to find a lasting solution to this. Very soon now, we can talk about 2018. It's need for us to go call it a spade. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant day, Lagos.
Many thanks.
Thank you.
Yes. So
calling that spade by its name is
exactly what we are trying to do. Exactly what we're trying to do. Sorry. Okay. We need to call this spade by its name. And really, if we really want to develop the Niger Delta, then we'll start from home. We'll start from our local government councillors. We'll start from our local government chair. We'll go to our governors. We'll ask NDDC, what are we doing? We ask those questions. And just a quick one. We're talking about this region of the oil wells. The biggest oil well that has problems today in Nigeria. Who is responsible for it? It's not the Niger Delta. We're talking of OPL24, this Malabu oil that has attracted the entire world attention. Was it not owned by Niger Delta Son? So, and then go and check. Some people have gone to publish the list of directors and owners of oil wells. So this lie is being flown about the whole country that 80% of oil wells are owned by Northerners. I think it's a lie of the devil. And it's time we leave this realm of lies and propaganda and speculations and go to the root fact, because these things have been published and they are all in the public spaces. you know, as to who owns what, who are directors of each of these companies, who are part owners of each of these areas. So we must call this spade by its name.
Look, an enduring problem in this country is that of accountability, not asking anybody to account.
Yes.
Yeah, now, we are talking about a collective problem now, Niger Delta.
Yes.
So many people are involved. Nobody is held accountable.
You see, that's why I'm you know, when I use Abuja, you know, in planning, there's urban planning, there is regional planning. But the principle of
I'm
planning...
sorry, I'll pause you. We don't like to keep the viewer. Okay. Ogbanago is here from Ikeja. How are you, Ogbanago?
Hello, good morning, sir.
Welcome.
Yes, sir, Citizen Jones. I think the leaders of the Niger Delta are not sincere. They had this problem, you know. Good morning, sir.
Go on.
Yes, sir. I said the leaders of the Niger Delta are the problem of Niger Delta. And the youth, who are the leaders of, who were supposed to be the leaders of tomorrow, are still doing harm to themselves. You know, instead of coming together, join hands together and said what these leaders have been doing to us, they have been doing harm to ourselves. Let us come together and see how we are going to build a new Niger Delta of our dreams. Now they are started scattering everywhere in the name of looking for 1 naira or 2 naira from the government.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, I was saying that in planning, you have urban planning, then you have regional planning. Now, taking Abuja, Abuja is an urban center. There's a planning for it, and it succeeded. Now, in the case of Niger Delta, I am saying that...
Which is regional.
Yes, it's now regional. Still, the planning principle is the same. There should be objective setting, there should be a framework, then there should be implementation, and so it's the same principle. So whether you are planning for Abuja or you are planning, before they built this place, there was a small plan for it. So the principle is the same thing. What I'm saying is that there should be such a plan, regional plan for the Niger Delta, which is, you know, of which the federal government is the arrowhead. Just the same way an urban plan was made for Abuja and the federal government engineered it and it worked. If you keep leaving little things to the people of Niger Delta, like NDDC, Niger Delta Ministry, and the rest of them, and you're expecting them, it's not working.
Look, you have attracted Kennedy from Ojo here.
Thank you.
Kennedy, how are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah, so let's go.
All right. Good day. It's my pleasure to contribute to your discussion. You see, the problem with Nigeria is that most of our Nigerians, they know our problem because they have been in government even when Theophilus Danjuma started acquiring most of the oil wells in the Niger Delta, so they know our problem. Understand?
Have you confirmed that? Have you confirmed that?
I'm telling you categorically. He knows that he's one of the oil wells owners over there. Understand? So they know how to iron our problem. Understand? They should stop lying to us. Understand? They can't just go and start developing Abuja, start telling us all sorts of stories. Each and every time they will set people on television, they will be deliberating. After all sorts of deliberation, it will just went off like that. Understand? So they should know how to treat our citizens and get us right so that we become as, like other countries. That's all. Thank you.
I didn't even get...
Kennedy, so I couldn't agree more with you. Gentlemen, as we make to land, look at Leicester. The Niger Delta struggle started specifically, my history tells me, on February 23rd, 1966. That's putting Adakaboro in the picture. For 13 days, 12 days, he held the Ironsi government, you know.
And his jugular.
Yeah, by the jugular, you know. From 1966 through to now, the question is still here. So something is wrong. Yeah, all parties are wrong here.
All parties are wrong here because the question is there. And as the years and days goes by, the irresponsibility of individuals becomes wider and wider. Citizen, it is the same. When River State was created in 1967 from the eastern region, there was a man called Dete Spiff,
the first governor,
who governed the present Rivers and Akwa Ibom.
And Bayelsa.
Bayelsa, sorry. Yeah. With a little budget. and turned Port Harcourt, that is, the East-West Road was started by him. The road between Port Harcourt going to, going to Akwa Ibom was started by him through Ogoni and all those areas, and brought real, I mean, you could see the positive development the young man at 27 created as at then. All his commissioners are older than him, some are his father's mates, but they all work in synergy. The same state, I'm just looking at the same state that late Mefodokilo governed from 1979 to 1983 and developed things, I mean, brought Rivers University of Science and Technology, so many things to bear. The same state that, what do you call him, Oyakhilome governed for 2 years and thereabout, and there was some resemblance of development. The time we have left. I can go on and on. And today, that same state has become
I must stop you. I must stop you.
And yet, people are agitating wider.
From 66 through to now, we're still discussing the same thing.
Through this long period, we've been playing politics. There's a lot of politics in the Niger Delta, whatever problem. Can the federal government and the states of the Niger Delta, can they remove politics from this development question? For once. Once they do that, there will be change. But if the politics supersedes the real thing is the people need water, they need road, they need hospital.
You name them.
If you don't give them those things, the problem remains there.
All right, folks, we must rest.
Let's not giving them.
Let's rest the matter for that. We'd agreed that we couldn't exhaust the Niger Delta problem in a breath. But let's thank Dr. Luke Onyekakea for coming.
Thank you.
No less so, Alester Wilcox, many thanks for your time.
Pleasure, anytime. Always.
All right, Niger Delta on my mind. I hope Niger Delta, and by extension, Nigeria, is on your mind. If we think Nigeria, we must think from the family unit down to Abuja. I thank you for your time, and on behalf of the Backroom Boys, let's say stay well. There's another program tomorrow. I'm out of here. Bye-bye now.